You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Called the USA, and we fly our flag cause we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. Never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we
This is Rio of Madison Rising, and you're listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. I am so sorry about last week, but I made a mad dash down to Florida and evacuated my daughter ahead of the storm and brought her back home, and she is actually right now on the road on the way back home. So forgive me if my thoughts are elsewhere too, but that's just how it is sometimes. We got a lot to talk about as usual, and also as usual, I'm most likely over-prepared, but that's okay. Before we get going into the jumbo DACA discussion, let's just take a quick look at what else is going on in the news. The more things change, the more things stay the same. Feds collect record taxes through August and still run a $673.75 billion deficit. Now, folks, I'm willing to give anybody the benefit of the doubt. Okay? No, this is not all the president's fault. This is more congressional than presidential. He wants to reform taxes and cut them. Congress is dragging their heels. So I'm gonna point the finger at McConnell and Ryan on this. We'll see. Ryan says the Republicans are rolling out their tax plan on September 25th. Let's see what it looks like for average American taxpayers. The middle class. Let's see what it looks like. And then I'll start, really throwing the penalty flags one way or the other. Related to that, Mick Mulvaney says tax reform is what's going to save the country. Again, we shall see once we understand what their idea of tax reform looks like. We've got the White House spinning President Trump's deal with the Democrats, saying it did more for bipartisanship in the last 8 days than Obama did in 8 years. I'd be a little more willing to buy that if he had gotten something in return for the deal instead of a big middle finger, which is all he got from the left. So, I don't buy that so much. Let's see. Crackpot Pelosi, she thinks that we actually owe Dreamers instead of them owing us. What do we got? We got ESPN showing off their true colors politically. They fire Kurt Schilling for speaking conservatively, but you get somebody else, and I don't even want to call her name out on the air. Everybody knows who it is already, calling the president a white supremacist. And ESPN just says, we've had a discussion with her and she knows that wasn't right. But hey, don't show your politics off by any means. Let's see what else is going on. Our national debt topped $20 trillion for the first time. Again, more congressional than presidential, but certainly there were things that could have been done to hold this back a little bit. Let's see, what else do we have? The aforementioned spending deal that Trump cut. Yeah, by the way, it funds Planned Parenthood. Yeah, how about that? That's conservatism for you. What else is happening? Let's see. Seattle's gay Democrat mayor resigns after 5th sexual abuse allegation. Hey, it only took 5 strikes, right? He must be a hell of a guy if it only took 5. Pelosi says that deportation is about purification of America. again, tugging at the emotional heartstrings of people. Ridiculous. Nothing about this is purification. If we were after purifying something, we'd be after everybody that isn't what? That isn't what? White? Conservative? Liberal? Or just American? I mean, if we knocked out all illegal immigration and we still had our current immigration system where people had to apply, get approved, come in, and go to work, whether they're black, white, red, yellow, green, purple, or plaid, would we be still purifying America? Come on, Nancy, deal with this. And then you got Grisham. You know, he runs his mouth on DACA, and we're going to get into some DACA. Don't get me wrong. We are going to get into it. He says this is the civil rights test of our time. No, sir, you are wrong. You are absolutely wrong, because it is not about civil rights. It's about following our laws. And apparently that's only a good thing when it's convenient for some. Schumer, you know, no border wall, no funding for a border wall, but Trump should support the DREAM Act and fix Obamacare. Yeah. Yeah, again, just like I said, a big middle finger for the deal that he cut with the left. What's going on around the globe? Merkel's still mad at Poland because they won't take refugees. Russia's hinting that its diplomatic spat with the U.S. may get worse before it gets any better. And Israel's outreach to Africa faces a setback as their first ever summit is postponed. And Iran tells the IAEA that you may not visit our military sites to look for nukes. So there's another finger in the air. So with all that going on, and I could have written 2 shows out of all that, but, you know, with all that going on, I think we really need to talk about DACA. DACA. So Trump announced that he would end the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival program in 6 months if Congress didn't find a more permanent solution. So basically he extended it to give Congress a chance to come up with a way to provide amnesty. I do not approve, Mr. President. I do not approve. This is BS. This is one of your mainstays of your campaign. And what it shows is that you were never serious about ending it to begin with. Now, since it was illegally enacted under Barack Obama, about 800,000 immigrants who were children when they arrived in the U.S. illegally have received protections from the program. They include stay of deportation and the ability to legally work and go to school. Now, Trump signaled that he supports legalizing DACA, saying he would revisit the issue if Congress can't legalize the program. Again, going against one of the cores of your campaign. Now, here's a look at who gets affected when DACA ends and why the program remains controversial and what happens next. So we've already covered what DACA stands for. No need to go into that again. This is a program that was created back in 2012 by the Obama administration, allowing these people brought to the country illegally by their parents to get a temporary reprieve from deportation and to receive permission to work, study, and obtain driver's licenses. DACA applicants had to be younger than 31 years old when the program began. They also had to prove that they had lived in the United States continuously since June 15th of 2007 and that they had arrived in the United States before the age of 16. Now, we know good and well that there are thousands and thousands of these quote-unquote dreamers that don't have birth certificates that are in this program. Okay, it's already known. You don't have to dig real deep to find that to be true. So they also had to show that they have clean criminal records, which is great, okay? They should have to have clean criminal records. They have to be enrolled in high school or college or serve in the military. I'm sorry, serve in the military? No. No, I do not want illegals serving in my military. Yes, my military, the one I spent 10 years in. Their status is renewable every 2 years. So who are these dreamers? As we said, about 800,000 recipients, also known as dreamers, according to Citizenship and Immigration Services. Most arrived from Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. There are also several thousand from Asia, primarily South Korea and the Philippines. They reside in every state, with the largest concentrations in California with almost 250,000, Texas with about 125,000, New York about 42,000, Illinois 42,000, and Florida roughly 33,000. The term dreamer, just in case you're actually interested, is derived from a legislative bill first introduced in 2001. It was called the Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors Act, and it has yet to be approved by Congress. Think about that. Think about it. Never approved by Congress, but yet here we are doing it. So why was DACA created? Well, unable to find a legislative remedy to protect minors who were brought to this country through no fault of their own, and I will say that, they were brought here through no fault of their own, still does not excuse the parents breaking the law, bringing them here. The Obama administration created the DACA program through executive action in June of 2012. Conservatives accused Obama of overstepping his authority, but they brought no legal challenge. Why? Anybody? Bueller? That's right. The Chamber of Commerce brought down the influence, saying, we need them here. Don't challenge it. The Dreamers are a somewhat organized group of young people who argue that after being raised and educated here in the U.S., they are Americans who only lack legal recognition. I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly. And for those of you who know my background, you know why. For those of you who don't, I suggest you go to misfitpolitics.com and read the lovely piece that I posted over there that they were kind enough to publish for me on immigration. You can do yourself a favor and check that out anytime at misfitpolitics.com. At the time DACA was created, Obama's executive action had strong public support, according to the Pew Research Center, that showed 63% of those polled approved of the program, but we do not have the demographics of that program, so we don't know how heavily Democratic it was skewed. A more recent poll by NBC News and SurveyMonkey, somehow those two just seem to go hand in hand, found that nearly 2/3 of Americans favor allowing Dreamers to stay in the U.S. So why did Trump end the program? Well, like I mentioned, during the campaign, He railed against illegal immigration and promised to reverse what he called Obama's unconstitutional executive actions. But as president, Trump is pedaling backwards on his stationary bicycle. Early on, he said a decision about the fate of the Dreamers was very difficult for him, but we're going to show great heart. Apparently, great heart is measured in the term of 6 months. As recently as last week, when he was asked about his impending decision, Trump said, "We love the Dreamers." No, we don't. No, we don't. Look, don't get me wrong, people. There are good kids out there in this program. There are. There are some real a-holes too. Okay? It's just that simple. Conservatives who had anticipated swift action from Trump repeatedly urged the new president to keep his pledge and pull the plug on DACA. In June, 10 Republican attorneys general moved to force Trump's hand. In a letter to Attorney General Jeff Sessions, they threatened to launch a legal challenge against DACA by seeking to amend a lawsuit stalled in federal court. That lawsuit opposed another Obama executive action called DAPA, or Deferred Action for Parents of Americans. But guess what? They're not Americans. Because the parents are illegal. Therefore, when you have a child here in the United States as illegal aliens, the child is not an American. This is outlined. Never mind. We're going to stick to the topics here. You can find that. Trust me. Look for founding documents. Announced in November 2014, DAPA would have expanded DACA protections to certain undocumented parents whose children are legal residents or citizens of the United States, but they weren't. The Republican attorneys general, led by Texas AG Ken Paxton, gave Trump until September 5th to decide DACA's fate. Will the Dreamers be forced to leave? Not immediately. According to Homeland Security, DACA will be phased out with an official end in 6 months. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services will process all new applications received of September 5th and then stop accepting applications. Dreamers whose work permits expire before March 5th, 2018 can apply for a 2-year renewal, but they must meet an upcoming October 5th deadline. The government will not terminate previously issued deferred action or revoke employment authorization documents. But the announcement by DHS also ends on an ominous note for Dreamers, according to this report. It says DHS will continue to exercise its discretionary authority to terminate or deny deferred action for any reason at any time, with or without notice. As it should be. The process announced by U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions is designed to create a time period for Congress to act, should it so choose. Now, there are a lot of people in Congress that are ready to act on this. But I'm telling you now, folks, they're not thinking about America's best interests. They are not. They're thinking about lobby dollars. And if you don't know what I mean by that, look up who the Chamber of Commerce donates to and why. It says here that there's no way of knowing whether Congress will ever come to the Dreamers' rescue. Oh, I can promise you they will. They will. Because Congress does not care about flyover America. Congress doesn't care about taking jobs away from Americans. It's what they've been doing for the last 35, 40 years. And then you have President Trump saying that he will, quote, unquote, revisit this issue if Congress doesn't legalize DACA. So he's basically telling them to legalize it, or he's going to executive order the program all over again. So there's your campaign promise, spit right back in your face. Okay, so related to DACA, oh yeah, we're still on DACA here. California Attorney General Xavier Becerra announced Monday that he is suing President Trump's administration to block it from ending protections against deportation for hundreds of thousands of young undocumented immigrants. Attorneys general in Maine, Maryland, and Minnesota are also joining the suit. The announcement came 1 week after the Trump administration rescinded the DACA program and left the issue for Congress to resolve legislatively in the next 6 months, when work permits and deportation protections will begin to lapse for many of its recipients. Implemented again by Obama in 2012, yada, 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 we know. More than 200,000 Dreamers live in California. Yada, yada. Covered already. In the lawsuit, Becerra argues that rescinding DACA violates the Fifth Amendment's due process clause due to concern that the administration will use the personal information Dreamers provided to apply for the program to find and deport them or their families. Hey, I got news for you, Chief. They're here illegally. Whatever means we can find them by, I'm fine with, and should be legal. This program had a sunset date. It was not to go on indefinitely. Now, Becerra also argues that using this information would violate the legal principle of equitable estoppel, which essentially protects against a bait and switch. In this case, giving Dreamers reason to believe their personal information wouldn't be used against them, and then doing so anyway. Again, how far will we extend violating our laws to protect people with said laws? You know, they're violating our law, and then we get people using our laws to protect them. Now, some people call that the legal process, but no, that's not the legal process. Come here legally, then you get the legal process. Come here illegally, you get your boot in the butt and you go home. They call rescinding DACA a reckless choice that violates the Constitution as well as federal laws that help ensure our government treats everyone fairly and transparently. Blustering. That's all this is. Tugging at the heartstrings, learning from Pelosi. You know, who cares? This guy's insane. I'm not even going to read any more of his stupidity. So, here's what Sessions had to say about ending DACA. To have a lawful system of immigration that serves the national interest, we cannot admit everyone that wants to come here, Sessions said. As Attorney General, it is my duty to ensure that the laws of the United States are enforced and that the constitutional order is upheld. Sessions also lambasted Obama for implementing an unconstitutional exercise of authority, and he described the 800,000 DACA recipients as mostly adult illegal aliens that had deprived American citizens of jobs and encouraged further illegal immigration. Bingo. He continued by saying, there can be no path to principled immigration reform if the executive branch is able to rewrite or nullify federal laws at will. It is now time for Congress to act. Okay, this is when it's time, folks. This is when you need to be melting your congressmen and your senators' phone lines. They need to know how much you are against DACA and DAPA. They need to know how much you are against illegal immigration. Because to pass these two programs into a law, for Congress to actually address illegals with a law, granting them amnesty, because that's all it's going to be. That's what it's going to turn into. It's going to turn into amnesty by law. And surprisingly, or unsurprisingly, there's been a lot of backlash against ending it. But, you know, Democrats aren't happy with the conclusion, and many on the right aren't either. You know, to leave it to Congress to find a decision, I completely disagree with. What I would have done is I would have ended the program, and I would have basically just terminated all their benefits. And when I say benefits, I mean no more driver's licenses, no more work permits, no more nothing. You're illegal. You either go home or become homeless, whatever. I'm sorry. Americans come first. Does that make me a racist? Well, I sure hope not. I'm only half white. I believe that the process needs to be refined on immigration. I believe that our immigration laws should be enforced. That does not make me a bigot. Merit-based immigration is a fantastic concept. I would like to see it refined a little bit and brought to fruition. I've run past the bottom of the hour, folks. We do have to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking DACA. We have an interesting take from the Pope, of all people, on DACA. And we're going to compare some of his statements to some of his actions and see maybe why he's wrong or maybe why he's right. Stay tuned.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me. Ain't that America? Something to see back.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810. Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
That's right. That's right. Ain't that America? Well, it's supposed to be for you and me, but apparently it's for anybody that wants to just come here and say they're American. Now, right before the break, I teased it, and here we go. Pope Francis has called out President Trump over his DACA decision. Brilliant piece by my friend Kimberly Ross over at Red State. You should go to redstate.com. You can search her articles there and find this piece on the Pope calling out President Trump over his DACA decision. The Pope questions whether Trump is actually pro-life or not based on his DACA decision. In a half-hour press conference on the flight back to Rome on September 10th, after a 5-day visit to Colombia, the pontiff also said he hoped Trump would reconsider his decision to stop the DACA program. He said he's heard the President of the United States speak, responding to a question from a Mexican journalist about Trump's decision. He presents himself as a pro-life man. He is a good pro-lifer, or if he is a good pro-lifer, he should understand that the family is the cradle of life and you must defend its unity. Francis continued saying that while he has not studied the specifics of the DACA program, he believes removing young people from their family is not a thing that bears good fruit, neither for the young person nor the family. That's right. So we send them all home. The parents are here illegally. See, the Pope is wading into waters which he shouldn't be in. Okay, I'm not Catholic. I'm not a Pope hater, but I am also not a huge fan. And I'm going to tell you why here in a minute, because you need to know. And that's what it's all about. It's all about the knowledge and the perspective. You don't have to agree, but you should be at least aware of the facts. The Pope said he is especially worried about young people who become detached from their roots and lose hope in the future, even then choosing to commit suicide. I got news for you. There's a lot of American kids that would love to be picked up and dropped down on the west coast of Mexico for a few years. Yeah, you can deport me to Cabo. I think I can manage there for a little while. I know not everywhere is like Cabo. Don't even start with the stupidity. But, he said, and anything that goes against this robs these young people of hope. Okay, so the Pope is calling out Trump's pro-choice leanings, which many people found to be questionable during the campaign to begin with. Whether you agreed with what Trump said and whether you thought he was telling the truth, actually irrelevant to what I'm talking about at the moment. But let's examine something here. Again, comparing the Pope calling out Trump there is a brilliant 3-part series over at lifesitenews.com about the Vatican under Pope Francis ending, hang on, let me get the proper name of it here. He dismantled the Vatican Pro-Life Academy and refused to take on Planned Parenthood. Now, we could spend a full show going over this three-part article here that was brilliantly written, and it does not have the author's name. But again, go to lifesitenews.com. You can find the article there. And it is absolutely amazing to me the lack of self-awareness and, I mean, downright piousness of the Pope. I mean, he really thinks he's beyond reproach. And this man fails to take on Planned Parenthood. Let me get into a little bit of the article here. It's really about 6 solid pages. We're not going to have enough time to go through all of it, but a little bit of the background. The Pontifical Academy for Life came into existence in 1994 because of the dedication of Dr. Jerome Lejeune and his longstanding friendship with Pope John Paul II. A year later, in March of 95, Pope John Paul II issued the historic encyclical Evangelium Vitae, or the Gospel of Life. In that encyclical, he explained the reasons why building culture of life was so important. We are asked to love and honor the life of every man and woman and to work with perseverance and courage so that our time, marked by all too many signs of death, may at last witness the establishment of a new culture of life, the fruit of the culture of truth and love. This launched the Vatican's Pro-Life Academy. The Academy became the scientific and philosophical backdrop that would provide the Church and the people with statements, publications, and volumes directed at developing and understanding what was at stake in the struggle between good and evil. Many of its documents further examine the truth of our position on any number of topics, from abortion to human fetal tissue experimentation to euthanasia and many subjects in between. Folks, again, hypocritical. That's the background. Now, we're going to jump forward in time to the dismantling here. Obviously, there were some personnel changes under popes in between John Paul II and Pope Francis. No need to go through all the names and historical titles and things of that nature. But suffice it to say, the Academy became destined to disappear in the reorganization of a Vatican bureaucracy that appears to have little concern for the fate of millions of God's preborn children around the world. The most recent Pope Francis appointee to hold the office of president of the gutted Pontifical Academy for Life, Archbishop Vincenzo Paglia, is himself controversial. Not only was Paglia investigated for alleged involvement in a property scam, a charge he denied, but he has promoted the questionable Vatican sex education program entitled The Meeting Point and commissioned an erotic painting for his own church. The troubling nature of these allegations alone should have led Pope Francis in a different direction, but sadly it did not. The fundamental fact is the most troubling on the one hand, we have clear teaching of the Catholic Church regarding respect for the dignity of the human person. On the other hand, we have the debilitated Pontifical Academy for Life, weakened by a pope whose agenda seems to be a mystery to those who support life. They had hoped the Pontifical Academy for Life would continue voicing the truth as taught by so many saints and doctors of the Church. Even in the earliest days of the Church, when church doctors argued over whether the preborn was fully formed or not, there was agreement that abortion is a grave evil. St. Basil the Great found the distinction between formed and unformed too subtle to be a morally relevant teaching, saying a woman who deliberately destroys a fetus is answerable for murder. And any final distinction as to its being completely formed or unformed is not admissible amongst us. Now, look, I'm not saying I agree with Basil the Great, but I am saying this. For a church as an entity, we're talking about the Catholic Church. Has there ever been a more powerful global force centered in one place as a religion, reaching out to so many places around the globe under the direction of one person, and then to have that person turn his back on one of the very standards of the church? How dare he try to say that somebody else doesn't seem to be pro-life to him, when his own deeds show that he is in fact not pro-life? How dare he? It's hypocritical at best. Now, opponents of the DREAM Act fear that giving amnesty to those immigrants who have broken immigration laws will only encourage more illegal immigrants to come into the U.S., knowing that their children will have a pathway to legal residence. No kidding. Essentially, in opponents' eyes, it offers an incentive to break the law. Again, no kidding. Critics of the bill feel that when it comes down to applying for college and or receiving aid for school, then it creates a playing field that is unlevel for U.S. citizens versus illegal immigrants. And they're right. Basically, illegal immigrants will have an equal shot at precious state and federal resources as legal residents if the DREAM Act is passed. And this is particularly offensive considering the economic situation the U.S. finds itself in. This is the same argument used with affirmative action used in college admissions. Okay? Morgan Freeman made this same argument, and I'm going to continue to make this argument because it's the truth. Okay? Let's just take a black American, let's say female, okay? Just for the sake of the argument, a black American female doesn't score quite high enough to qualify to get into Stanford. Okay? But scored plenty good to get into, let's say, USC. Okay? Two well-known schools. Fine in their own respects. USC known more of as more of a sports school. I'm sure they have fine academic programs, but they are not considered to be on the level of Stanford, academically speaking. Now, because this black female is a black female, Stanford decides they want to offer her admission to add diversity to their campus. So they shun a more qualified applicant. They don't even know who that applicant is. That applicant could be another Black American. It could be an Asian American. It could be a white American. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, with affirmative action, just like this DREAM Act, you would be getting something you didn't earn. Now, there is nothing, and I say again, nothing wrong with getting an education from University of Southern California. USC is a fine school. And wouldn't you rather have earned everything you have instead of having it handed to you because you're thought to be less capable? You need this extra help. What does that say? What does that say about you that A, you think you need that, or B, that that's acceptable to you? Be proud of what you achieve because it's all yours. No one can take it away from you. This is what I'm driving at, folks. This is what I'm driving at. It's driven me through business. You've heard me speak of this before. And I'm going to go ahead and say it again real quick because I don't want to spend a lot of time on me. But growing up, I wasn't white enough for the white people. I wasn't brown enough for the brown people. And I wasn't red enough for the red people. But I have all of that blood in me. Everybody can look at me and tell, well, he's not exactly white, but he's not exactly Hispanic, and he's not exactly Native American. What the hell is he? What I am is me. 100% American. What I learned growing up is that if you take the labels and put it aside and judge people by what they do, you end up with a much better circle of friends. Screw skin color. Screw your background. What are you doing? How are you doing it? Are you a person of your word? Can you be counted on? Do you finish things? Are you kind? Do you have manners? This is what has driven me to be a success in life. People judge success by different things. I'm not rich. I'm okay. I'm not poor. But I'm not rich either. I would say it's a pretty good life for a kid from a broken home raised by a single mom who definitely had a much harder time passing as American than I do. And how tough it must have been in the 60s and 70s for her to find work to support us. But she did it. And she did it while going to school at night and getting her degree. So, it's take this DREAM Act, put it in the circle file, and while you're at it, take affirmative action and stick it in the can with it and light it all on fire. Let's start judging people based on them, not their color, on their acts. Let's start judging them based on what they do. Are they bilking money from our government, hurting taxpayers, or are they in school busting their hump? trying to get a good education so they can get a good job. By the way, how many hundreds of thousands of these DACA recipients have actually started the process to become legal? The government's not releasing this, and let me tell you why they're not releasing it. Because the number's very low. They thought they'd be able to get this quote-unquote dreamer status and ride it out forever. So they never took the steps to become legal in the United States. I have no sympathy for them. The ones that did it right, my heart goes out to you, and I would help you any way I can. Because we are all about legal immigration. Merit-based, legal immigration. Folks, we are rolling back around to the top of the hour. It's, I don't know. We got a minute or two. We might kill it. What do we got? Oh, yeah, Shapiro, speaking at Berkeley. Hey, Cat 5 Ben Shapiro coming to Berkeley. They made him pay $10,000 for a security retainer. What I want to know is, did they make the protesters that they're going to allow to be right outside of the hall pay another $10,000 for security? Because fair is fair, right? I mean, come on. Ben, you're out there, man. Shake your head. You know I'm right. Fair is fair. If you have to pay, they should have to pay too. After all, you're not the one inciting the violence. Okay? They're actually setting up counseling for students and staff that are deeply concerned about what Ben might have to say. Oh my God, it's so horrible that somebody might disagree with you. Whatever. Supposedly Berkeley was the home of free speech. Now it's the home of muzzled speech. Or pay for speech, if you will. $10,000. Ridiculous. Okay, we're there. Top of the hour. It's time for me to get out of the way. Jesse's POV's coming up next, followed by the Stafford Voice, followed by Rowdy Rick with America Off the Rails. Folks, I am the Grouch. If you like the show, tell your friends. If your friends like the show, you need new friends, but they and you are welcome every week here with me on the Conservative Curmudgeon Show. Thank you. God bless. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
This country called the USA, and we fly our flag 'cause we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. Never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans.